that Josiah ripped his garments, through dust stirred in his head, and he cried out, and he said, "Go ask the prophetess, what does this mean?" And they go and they ask the prophetess, and the prophetess says, "Tell the man who sent you that God said that this will happen, but in his lifetime, while he's still ruling, he will have peace." Josiah was curious to know the truth. He was curious. He allowed God in. He cried. He ripped his clothes. He prayed. He begged. And to some say, go ask them, can this change? Can God change his mind? God used his curiosity to tell Josiah to remind Israel to change. For I am coming. I'm not holding back. I'm coming for them. I'm coming to chastise my children. So tell them to change now. So that when it happens, they don't come faint of heart. So that when it happens, they will know that I love them. So that when it happens, they will learn from the situation. We go to John 3, 1 through 3. We meet a man named Nicodemus who came to Jesus by night. And the Nicodemus came to Jesus by night because he couldn't sleep. You know, he saw Jesus do miracles, and it was just like, so funny. I got it right here in front of me. Let's read it. There was a certain man of Pharisee named Nicodemus, a ruler of the Jews. This man came to Jesus by night and said to him, "Rabbi, we know that you are a teacher, come from God, for no one can do these signs that you do unless God is with him." Jesus answered and said to him, "Most surely I say to you, unless one is born again, he cannot see the kingdom of God." Nicodemus says, no man can do this save God be with him. I'm curious to know, how in the world are you able to do such a thing? You can't do this unless God is with you, unless you came from God. And Jesus says to him something, most surely I say to you, unless you're born again, you cannot see the kingdom of God. Nicodemus wanted to see. He was curious about where Jesus came from. He said, "Jesus, we're from the same town." Because Nicodemus is from Nazareth. We're from the same town. We grew up with the same people. So how in the world are you able to heal people, set people free, turn water into wine? How are you able to preach such good things and talk about such good, powerful things of the laws of the land? How are you able to do such a thing? He was curious to know. And by his curiosity, thanks to Nicodemus' curiosity, we have John 3:16. "For I so loved the world that I gave you my only begotten Son." Because of his curiosity, he opened up the door for Christ to speak about being reborn again, speaking about such things, speaking about how he will suffer on the cross, speaking about how we will have eternal life if we believe, speaking about those who do not believe that they shall perish, speaking about how dark the world is and how he is light coming to save us, speaking about such things. His curiosity, God used it. He couldn't sleep, he tossed and turned, and God moved in. He opened the door for God, and because of him, such great things happened. In Genesis 3, 1 through 7, Eve is curious about why this tree is dead in the center. Now remember, it's a Garden of Eden. The tree is dead in the center of the garden. And God said, don't eat it. We would like to believe that Eve walked by the tree one time and she ate of the fruit. I'm gonna tell you no, that's not true. Eve walked by this tree multiple times, just like Moses saw multiple burning bushes. She walked by this tree day in and day out, and she was curious. See, our curiosity can lead us in the wrong or right path. It can lead us in the right or wrong direction. It can lead us in places that we shouldn't be in. Have you ever been curious of how people can do such crimes, how they can steal, how they can rape, how they can molest, how can they commit heinous crimes, how can they be homosexuals and do it, how can they speak vile against God. Have you ever been curious about it? Ever thought about it? You have. Just like Eve. She walks up to the tree, walks back and forth, and Satan's able to come to her because she had a curiosity, a strong desire to know something. Why in the world is God telling me not to eat of this tree? And she eats of the tree. And Adam also. And that's putting the world into convulsion of sin, sickness, disease, pain, suffering. In the book of Daniel, chapter 6, let's turn to Daniel chapter 6, verse 16 through 17. It says that, so the king gave a commandment, and they brought Daniel and cast him into the den of the lions. But the king spoke, saying to Daniel, your God whom you serve continuously, he will deliver you. Then a stone was brought and laid on the mouth of the den, and the king sealed it with his own signet ring, and with the signet of his Lord, that the supposing concerning Daniel might be changed. Now the king went to his palace and spent the night fasting, and no musicians were brought before him, as also his sleep went from him. Then the king arose very early in the morning and went in haste to the den of lions. And when he came to the den, he cried out with a lamentation, a lamenting voice to Daniel. The king spoke, saying to Daniel, Daniel, servant of the living God, has your God whom you serve continually been able to deliver you from the lions? And Daniel says to him, O king, live forever. Darius favored Daniel, and people conspired against Daniel to make him stop praying to God, but he refused to. So they put a decree out that anybody shouldn't, that for 30 days that no one should pray. They should just ask the king for whatever they want. But Daniel refused. He prayed 3 times a day daily. He refused to break his routine. So they brought Daniel to Darius. And Darius, he's broken the decree, and Darius was saddened by what has happened because he knows Daniel. He knows the power of Daniel, and the Persian kingdom and the time of the media, this time, their decrees could not be broken. They had to follow through suit. There was no way around it. He had to keep his word. So he dozed Daniel in the ring and to the lions den, and the king says to him, Daniel, your God whom you serve continue, he will deliver you. He spoke God's deliverance over him. Where? And he sealed the rock over him, and it said that the king went home fasting. He didn't want nobody around him. He did not sleep. He was curious to see, was God going to save Daniel? And how do we know this? Because when he goes to the den, he says, Daniel, the servant of the living God, has your God, whom you serve continuously, been able to deliver you from the lions? He was curious to know, was God going to deliver such a man? He stayed up all night long. He tossed and he turned, thinking and wondering, will God save him? I didn't want to do what I did, but will God save him? The time of curiosity. Some of you are watching. You're curious about something. You're curious about an idea in your mind, curious about your marriage, or curious about your life. Some of you are not curious at all, not even paying attention. Be aware. Be aware of things. Be aware of a sudden change in your household, or in your house, or in your marriage, or in your relationship,